Hello everyone, hopefully everyone can hear me okay and we're all good to go. Welcome to a midweek stream, a bit off the cuff. That's because I thought I'd do a live stream bit going behind the scenes of my new game Blobb, which is coming out on April 11th for iOS and for Android. So thank you for joining us for this live stream. This will be made available publicly as well. Everyone as well, so it's not going to be hidden away from anyone or not going to be a Patreon exclusive. It will be available to everyone. So what they're going to do today is first of all give you an overview of the game itself, what it has to offer, what's it all about, and then I'll go over and show you how I actually made certain parts of it and my approach to solving various problems I came across during its development. So giving you a sneak peek behind it and going through about how it's created. The game, first of all, was made in Game Maker Studio 2. It's a 2D, well, primarily a 2D game engine. One that I have used for many years and very comfortable with. So it was made in that. Even though you may be used to me talking about Unreal Engine 4, there are lots of things that I did in the creation of this game which are could be transferred over to Unreal, no problem. So I'll be talking more about the line of thinking that went into it, the creative decision making that went into making it. So here we go. Let's get started. Just play the game and show you bits of it. So I've turned on a debug mode, so I've got access to all the levels. This is World 1. This is Summer Glades, and if you've never seen this before, let's give you an overview of how the game plays. So you play as little Blob, and you can swipe your finger on the screen. I'm using the mouse on the PC, obviously, but it'll be a finger on the screen, and you can go into your levels. Now, obviously, typically you won't have access to all the levels. You start off with level 1 and work your way up. In level 1, it's designed to teach you how to play the game. So the way you do this is you swipe to slide, and once you start sliding, you can't stop until you hit something solid, and that stops Blob from moving. So something like this, and you have to make your way towards the star. So level 1 was designed to make it so that you trying to teach you the mechanics of the game. So the first few levels are trying to teach you the mechanics of the game. So this one, for example, the first move, you can only go one way. So the player's it's a safe choice to swipe to the right. Hopefully, once I've done that, they would have realised what happens when you do swipe, and then they can see where they've got to go next and swipe up. Now, to show the evolution of the idea next, in the next level, it adds a few more blocks, but it's only one way to solve it. Okay, so that's pretty much the game. So the way it works in sort of business sense as well is that to go into a level costs you a heart. You see, you start off with 5 hearts, so it costs you 1 heart to go in. When you go into a level, you have this health bar at the top, and this health bar starts off full, and if you die, it depletes bit by bit, and as you deplete, you lose stars. So the more health you have, the more stars you get at the end of the level. Obviously, you're trying to get all 3 stars. So if you were to complete the level without dying, i.e. you get a flawless victory, like this, you get your heart back. So if you're good at the game, you can play the whole way through, if you're really good at the game. Unlikely, but you could play the whole way through without losing any hearts. If you do lose a heart, it does take 5 minutes for a heart to restore itself, and that's using the system clock of your iPhone or Android device. Or you can click on it as well, and I don't know if it's going to work on this because I've got debug mode on, it won't show. But if you want to increase your health back up to 5, you can either pay a gem, pay 2 gems per heart, or watch an advert and you get a heart back that way too. So it is a free game, and it's supported through microtransactions and advertising. Now, adverts won't show in this version because we are on the PC, but the way this works is you have, let me get chat back up window. The way the adverts work is you've got one banner one at the bottom here. So at the bottom of this screen would be the banner advert, and that only shows on this world screen. Okay, so every time you go back to the world screen, you see a banner advert. Also, after 3 minutes of play, you after 3 minutes of play, you'll randomly, I think it's like a 20% chance, randomly get a message come up saying, please watch this advert, it supports development, and it'll play an advert which can be skipped after 5 seconds. And that's just another way to get advertising out of it. It's something I saw in another game that I played on the iPhone, my Android device, and I really liked the way it done it, and it was quite a nice, it had a nice touch to it. And obviously the watch ad for to get your hearts back. Microtransactions are these gems. Again, these don't work in this version because it's PC version, but you can get 20 gems, 100 gems, or 500 gems, and I think the prices are 99p for 20 gems, 2.99 for 200 for 100, sorry, and 500 is for 9.99. This is all in British pound coins, by the way. And you can use gems to restore hearts, use power-ups, or use a daily mode, which we'll go over in a moment. But let's continue going through the game and show you what else we can do. So again, all unlocked. This is a gate. This block here to my left is a gate, and you have to come back to it when you've got enough stars. You'll find them throughout the world map. Once you get these boss levels, these hard mode levels, and let's show you that to get started off with. And these hard mode levels, when you die, you lose twice as much health bar at the top. And yeah, you just got to beat it. They're typically harder, require better timing. Obviously, I've played it a lot, so I know what to do. But they're challenging ones that you get in the game. So you saw a preview of the first trap you come across. The first trap being the spike. I think you first introduced it in this level. Yep. So the spike here is what you think it does, basically. Over time, it'll stick its spikes out, hit the spikes, it kills you. And every time I introduce a trap, this is something you have to think about whenever you're doing level design in the games. Whenever you introduce something new, you want to teach the player what it does and how to overcome it. So this is a theoretically safe environment to learn what the spike does. You can't accidentally hit it. You see it, what it's doing, and hopefully the player can figure out what it will do if you do hit it. But nothing too stressful, nothing too difficult. And as it teaches you that, it ramps it up and introduces you to more mechanics. So if we skip a couple ahead here, you see multiple spikes being used. You can see death happens. Like so. This was just answering questions in chat. This was made in Game Maker Studio 2. I'll go through the code and how it works, in some parts of it anyway, and the thinking behind it as well. As I said, even if it's not done in Unreal, the coding and the theory behind the code will apply to Unreal and any game engine. It's the exact same. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So we go on, we'll skip ahead a few bits. Oh, there's this other thing here. I think it's this level that introduces it. Each world has a gimmick that introduces it. This one's the star rights, which are these little stars, and you have to collect them all to unlock the golden star. And again, we're teaching the player here what they do without using text on the screen. So I can go into and collect all the star rights and go to the gold star. And you see the evolution of that idea going forward in further levels. This is the introduction of the bounce block. And again, teaching the player what it does without using text. The benefit of you not using text means you don't have to do any translation, and it's a lot better to show someone how something works rather than tell them how something works. Let's skip on a bit in this world, and before we go on to the next worlds, and let's have a look and see what we've got going on here. So we'll go here. So these levels introduce the flower, which are these spinning spikes, which involve a bit more timing, and you can go in between them, like through the chains. You can go between the chains, and they do get kind of crazy. Give you an example of a crazy one. Let's go to the last level of this world. There's 50 levels in the world, by the way. So you've got spikes, got arrows, and we've got the flower. These are all things that were introduced in this world, and all set to challenge the player. Like so. Obviously, as you can see, you get XP, and you level up, and every time you level up, you get a reward. This randomizes the spinning thing here. So now I've got a frost block. So let's show you what power-ups do. Now we've got them. Let's go into another level and show you what power-ups do. Okay, so the power-ups. First of all, let's look at the bubble. This is the green one. The bubble puts a bubble around you and protects you from one hit. I got hit twice by accident, I think. Why is that not working? Don't tell me this is bugged. It may be bugged. Let's go into a different level and double check. Let's go into... I'm still finding bugs in the run up to release. I fixed one more last night. Oh, let's turn on. Yeah, so that's what happens when you meant to get hit. So it pops the bubble, protects you from one hit. I think I know what the solution to that bug is, I just haven't done it. We'll see. So let's go, now I know a bug, we can fix that tonight actually and upload a new release to Apple and Google. Let's go into another world and give you a preview of each world. So this is Glitter Mines, and these dudes introduce bomb blocks. And that's the first new trap you get in this one. Bomb blocks are blocks that disappear when you hit them. And we can see they do a chain reaction if they are touching other blocks. Oh, let's quit out there. Let's carry on through this and show you some more of this world. So these are Tesla coils. They do that. And they come in different sizes, so we can customize their size. And obviously if you're inside the area of effect, you get killed. And you see them being used quite creatively later on. Let's check out level 25. I don't know what this is, but let's have a look. There's overall 200 levels in the whole entire game. Okay, so these are teleporters and a Tesla block. Teleporters teleport you. And your direction of movement carries through. Like that. And you get some pretty weird creative levels with the teleporters. Let's move on. You typically find a new trap every 5 to 6 levels. These are mole blocks, and mole blocks, when you hit them, if they are up, they go down. If they're down, they will go up. Like so. Let's move on. Let's see what this one does. This is just another level, nothing special one. Okay, let's go to the next world. I like the next world. Diamond Peaks. Diamond Peaks. Now, Diamond Peaks introduces their first new block is the ice block. I'm quite a fave. One of my fave blocks is this ice block. The ice block will stop Blobb, but it will transfer the movement and direction to the ice block, so you get this effect. Pretty cool, eh? And you get some crazy levels with those, like this one. So you get those. Let's move on. Let's have a look at this one. So this level introduces the fire plant thing, and they shoot fireballs at you. There you go. So, obviously, they only shoot fireballs when you get near them. But that's what I do. Let's move on. So these are frame blocks. These get destroyed after one hit. Like that. Let's move on. And there is... Yep. So these ones are the laser beam going across. These are what I call clam blocks. And what these do, if I can find an easy way to show you, it crushes the two blocks that it's connected to together into some pile of rubble. Balls. Anyway, yeah, just. Let's go on to the final world and show you some stuff that's there. Now, if the game is successful, I'll be making more worlds, more levels, more traps. I do have a long list of potential traps to come. Not that level. Let's go to one that's got something new. Also, teleporters, other things can go through them. So, be aware of that. Trying to get to the laser beam one. There you go. So you got laser beams, and they do what you think they do. There you go. Again, they get quite crazy later on. Let's move on. So this world introduces the idea of these tiles, and you have to turn all the tiles on. So when you go over them, you turn the tile off or on, you toggle it. So you have to turn them both on to get the golden star. So we go like this. Nothing new in that one. Laser beams can be static or can be turning. Come in two types. So here we have buzzsaws, and these will dynamically go around any blocks they're connected to. So one thing I did when I was making this game was I made sure that the traps were quote unquote smart traps. Like these buzzsaws, I programmed them to figure out themselves what to do when they hit a block. So what these guys are actually doing is they are checking both 2 points to the left and in front. So if the point to the left, the point in front is blocked by another block, it will rotate and change direction by 90 degrees. And if it detects that the block to the left disappears, then it has to turn the other way. So you get this effect where it looks like it's going around circles. So I didn't have to program any special type of spline movement or anything like that. It done it all on its own, dynamically. Let's go here. So you've got a combination of other things getting together. I'll show you the blade one. The blade one is... Yep. So here we've got blades and conveyor belts. So these are part of this as well. Conveyor belts shoot in the direction that the conveyor belts are going. Like that. Blades do what you think they do. So. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, that's pretty much all the traps. There's a few others I don't think I've come up here, but you'll see them there. So as I said, there's 200 levels, 50 in each world, and alongside that there are 5 hidden stars in each world. Hidden stars are invisible to you until you get near them, and you have to collect them and beat the level with them to unlock them. And you get them, let's say there's 5 in each world to find. So there's something else for you to hunt down and get. There's achievements. These are tied also to your iOS and your Android account. So they are synced and you get rewards from, like gem rewards from. Like so. Oh, crash. Let's go back into it. There's something to do with the mouse, not necessarily. Obviously in touchscreen you don't have to deal with the mouse. We'll test that bug out. Again, I'll add it to a list if it is a bug. So alongside that, you also got quests, and you get daily quests. So these are randomised daily quests, which refresh at midnight every day. And you got an easy, medium, and hard one. And the hard one's just basically bigger numbers. And you get the silver stars. Now, silver stars are earned through extra activities in like daily quests, for example, and also the marathon mode. Overall, you get a rating based on how many stars you got in total. Now, the rating in the leaderboards, the way it works, it connects to my server, and it will tell you what tier you're in, and it will display a progress bar like this to show you how far you are between 2 different tiers. Obviously, Grandmaster the top one, so it's not going to show. I should really hide this so it doesn't really show it when you're top tier, but when you're in different tiers, it shows you how to progress towards the next tier. And that changes obviously as people play your game. And each day you have also the marathon mode. Marathon mode, you get a prize. So today's top prize is 15 silver stars and 10 gems. That's the minimum. This changes based on how many people play the marathon mode. So more people playing it, the bigger reward. And you can play. You get 1 free go each day. And the marathon mode is you have 1 health bar at the top. You have to beat as many levels as you can before depleting it. And so if I died there, you see the health bar change. Now if I beat the level, it'll give me a score, and it'll tell you that score up as we go. And you can see the health bar remains the same. And that health bar will stay like that. And if I just kill myself and get myself out of here, so you can see what it looks like when... Let's just quit. It should just be fine to quit. So marathon finished, total score 662. I'm in the gold tier. Okay. So now it'll cost me 1 diamond if I want to have another crack at it. So again, you'll see a similar thing here where you get a chart showing whereabouts you are on the leaderboard. So rather than showing you a long list of leaderboards, it will just do this bar chart thing, and it works out what your rank you're in. Obviously, I'm the only one that's played it, so it doesn't really show much here. The top prize, as I say, is based on how many people play it. And that's essentially it. We have the world select menu. So menu, we can turn music off and on. Another thing you can do as well is turn on grid. So for an accessibility option, this came from my mum. My mum had difficulty when she was playing it, seeing where Blobb would go. Her eyes weren't so great, so she wanted to see how things lined up. So the grid helps you line things up a bit better. Like so, yeah. So you've got a nice accessibility option there too. And also some credits as well, developed by myself, and some additional art by Marina and Daniel. Daniel is someone I purchased art from. He did a lot of the environment, he did most of the environment artwork. And Marina, she did these 4 pieces and the spinning wheel ticker thing that you get when you level up. Everything else I made, pretty much, I think. Yeah, pretty much everything else I made. So, all the animations done by me, blob traps, all of it by me. So the environments, backgrounds, with only a couple have been slightly tweaked, but they're all Daniel's. Again, I paid I purchased these artwork from him. And Marina, I commissioned to pay. I paid her to do these as well. The reason why I paid her to do these is because I was trying to do them, but I'm not an artist. It was taking me ages to do, and I went solid. I just paid someone to do it, and she's done these amazing pieces of artwork, and they look amazing. So thank you again to Marina for doing that for me. And that's kind of it. So as I said, that is the game. What we'll do now is we'll go into some of the thinking behind it and how the game works, what it looks like behind the scenes. So that's one thing I want to check here as well, see if that was a bug. No, I don't know what that bug was. Random bug. Right, let's quit out of here and look at the game engine. So this is Game Maker Studio 2, if you've never seen it before. It's a 2D game engine primarily. It can do 3D, but it's better for 2D. Let me take a sip of my drink. I have got chat open, so if you have any questions about particular traps or level design or anything like that, you help yourself to ask questions in chat. I'll do my best to answer them. So Joe Bradshaw is asking, how long did I work on this, and did I work solo, art assets obtained, or own artwork? Well, I've already answered about the art assets. All the background art done by Daniel, all the everything, all the other pieces of art done by myself, but except for the world icons. All the other UI stuff done by me, mostly using Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, to get nice crisp lines and things like that. It worked quite nice to using that piece of software as well. How long did I work on this? So weird story. So Blobb was originally made Blobb years ago. I released it in 2015, my first crack at it, and it got some downloads, but I learned a lot making that game, and I felt like the idea was solid enough to give it another honest shot and try and throw my best effort into it. Hence this. So I took down the old one, and I've been working on this for about, well, it's hard to say for it, because obviously I've been doing the YouTube channel stuff for a lot of the time. I haven't had much time to work on this, so I'd say it's taken about 2 years to get it out, but the actual working on it time has probably been about 6 months to a year. As I say, it's been off and on, but yeah. So if you don't not familiar with Game Maker Studio 2, Game Maker Studio 2 uses its own programming language. It's pretty much the same as any other object-oriented language. It's very similar. Very similar. So let's actually go into some of the level design first of all. So we're going to the world scene. So this is the world screen. Let's just get rid of this. Can I just hide this? No, I'll just make it smaller. Let's do that. Okay, so this is the world screen, and as you can see, it's pretty much what you think it is. It's tile-based art, so you have different layers where you can lay tiles on. But this is one of the first things I needed to solve on my own, and that was how to make a world screen where it would auto-detect when it should open up the next level. Now, there are lots of parts of my world design here that the levels aren't done sequentially. So, for example, this forking path here, when you complete this level, it opens up both of these, and they're not necessarily sequentially the next number. So it needed to detect how it did it in spatial awareness. So what you've got after each level are these red blocks here, and these red blocks are what are called level gates. And level gates will stop Blob from moving, so the invisible blocks that stop the Blob from moving. And what it does is, at the start when you load up the world, it detects and reads the save data. It detects what each level, because each one of these has been given a number. So if I here, if I click on this, for example, I can double click on here, go into variables, and I can see that destination is world level 1. That's the room it has to go to, the level it has to go to, and level number is 1. So it uses this data, reads it in the save data file, and checks if it's been completed or not. If it's been completed, it will delete the level gate. Now, when a level gate is deleted, it will also do a check for other level gates next to it. And if they are next to it, it will also delete them. And you get a sort of chain reaction. So for this, for example, these three, it will delete all these three. Now, the reason why you need to do that is because you could come at this level from both this way and this way. So it needed to work both ways. So that's why you get this chain reaction effect working in this regard here. You don't always need it. That's why some of them don't need, because it's a one-way street essentially, so you don't have to worry about that. And you see it here again because it's a forking path, and yeah, that's basically what it does. These black ones are just blocks that stop Blobb from going outside the level, because obviously the background art is just artwork. It has no real effect on it, so you have to put in some invisible blocks to stop Blobb from going outside the map. Here's the UI stuff, and the UI stuff I'll go into in a moment, because that is probably the hardest thing to work on inside GameMaker. It's one of its limitations that I dread. I hate the UI stuff in GameMaker. I wish it borrowed a lot from UE4, but it doesn't. And I'll go through the solutions for that in a moment. But as for worlds go, this is basically what I do. So each one of these, I'd go through and place each one of these, and then I'd open each one, go into the variables, and type in what level number it was, what's destination, and what was the previous level, so I can detect what the level it was that it should be before it, whether or not completed or not. And I say some of these have 2 previous levels, so this one will have 2. Previous level and previous level second. So it detects whether that previous level was completed. If it was, then it makes it active. Yeah, and it knows when to enter the level, because when Blobb slides onto it and he stops on it, it checks whether he's moving or not. If he's not moving, after a amount of time, then it will show the play level button. And that's how it works for all the worlds, essentially. Inside the actual levels, we have something set up like this. So it has to extend beyond the screen a little bit, so it's extra wide, because mobile phones, which we'll go through in a moment, have annoying sizes, so you have to make sure you account for that. So I've got some extra artwork on the sides, just in case people's phones are longer than other people's phones. And in this world, in this instance, each level will have these death block around it, so when you hit it, it kills Blobb. And here's that flower I was talking about. So I can go into the flower here, and I can change its variables. I can change whether it's going clockwise or anti-clockwise. I can also change its chain length. So I can change it from 64 to whatever how I like, and it'll change the length of the chain that the spiked ball is swinging around. And also change its starting rotation as well, so I can customize that all there. Here are the blades, and you can see I've changed rotation, so it's basically starting direction. So it will start going down, and one thing that's important with these blades, these buzzsaws, is that the rotation matters. That its local left is next to a block, so it's going down. Its local left would be here, which is a block, so it knows where to go around. If I didn't do that, it would get stuck. So it would look here and see there's no block, and get an infinite loop of just getting stuck. So this one here is going right, left side, so it'd be 180 in its rotation. Okay, and that's quite important. As I say, GameMaker uses layers inside its rooms, so you've got multiple layers for different tiles to get these different effects. And instances, these are traps and blocks, the death blocks. Oh, what do we? And a layer for the windows, and that's for like the UI sort of thing. So speaking of UI. Now, when making a game for mobile phones, the hardest thing to do is to work out the phone's resolution and scale your screen appropriately. There are so many issues trying to get this game to work on all devices, regardless of resolution, without things being stretched or missing or going off the screen. Pain in the butt. It took so long. So let's show you some solutions to that. So at the start of the game, again, Unreal, it works pretty well. Their UI system is a lot better than GameMaker's one. GameMaker's one, you have to hard code everything. It's a pain in the bum. Well, not hard code it. You have to manually code it, everything. Like for example, anchors. You don't have anchors in GameMaker. You have in Unreal, but not in GameMaker. So you have to make your own relative anchor ship. yourself. Yes, Game Maker Studio 2 is very different from the first one. I think it's a lot better. It's a lot more options to it, and I feel like this game wouldn't be as easy to make in Game Maker Studio 1. Omar's asking, why did I choose Game Maker 2 and not Unity? As I mentioned before, I originally made this game first time round in Game Maker Studio 1. And I was making it in Game Maker Studio 1 at the time because it was I teach it as well. Well, at the time I taught it as well. Don't do it anymore, but it was one I was working with all the time. So it was just through osmosis, I was just working in that system for so long. I just made it in that. And Game Maker's quite nice and quite easy to prototype stuff in 2D. So Unity overhead and setup for it's a bit annoying, but it's not too bad. And I just carried on with Game Maker. It's something I'm very, very familiar with. Yeah, it's just familiar. It's just for really familiarity with it. That's all. No real preference difference really. If this game does really well, I would like to give it a stab in Unreal and do a 3D version of it. There's some things I wanted to do that I couldn't do in 2D that I would like to do in 3D and really take advantage of that three-dimensional space. Like for example, having levels with multiple levels on it, so you like different heights and tunnels and things like that. That would be really cool to try and do. But yeah, so that if this game does well, that's where I would like to experiment, is try and make a 3D version in Unreal. But it's a fun game to make and fun game to play. Even though I did scream my head off trying to get some bits to work, like the UI. So let's show you the UI stuff. So on game start event, not game start, room start. Room start event. It does all this, and all this is doing is essentially looking at the display size and working out the resolution, working out the ratio, and then changing the camera views width and height based on that ratio. And I'm storing that, and I'm also storing the GUI location and offsets as well. Now the reason why I needed that is because all the UI elements also need to change as well. So for example, I've got this set onto the left here, yeah? To make sure it stays on the left, I have to take into account of its GUI offset. And in Game Maker, if you like this button here, this button, if I go edit object, you can see I've used the draw GUI event. You have two draw events. You have draw and draw GUI. Draw GUI draws everything on the top level. So when you do that, it ignores the room size. It just draws it straight onto the GUI. Now, the problem with that is if I'm resizing the GUI, I also have to change where this thing is going. And the reason we have to draw it on the GUI rather than just draw inside the room is because when the camera moves, the draw event doesn't happen at the same thread speed as the game update event. So you get a stuttering effect on all the buttons as they play catch up basically with the camera. Whereas draw GUI happens before that and works, and it's seamless. You don't see the stuttering effect. There's a button underneath it that's stuttering, but you can't see it. It's invisible, so it's drawing this effect on top to hide that stuttering effect, and that's what's doing there. Again, we'll probably be yawning away. It's been a long day. Essentially what it is. And you can see Game Maker uses very similar effect with Unreal. We have events, and these events are baked in. We also have custom ones. So if I could show Blobb object, and the characters here, and you can see you've got custom events here, user event 0, 1, 2, 3, and so forth. These are just your own ones which you can call whenever you want, and that's essentially what they do. And I use inheritance a lot for this. So all a game has something called an entity. In Unreal, they'd be actors. I call them entities. So I manually make this hierarchy. So all entities can handle movement controls and whether they hit something or overlap something. That's everything records that. And then on the children, so the characters, the blocks, the traps, they all have reactions, different reactions based on their job. Oh, sorry. So when it came to coding the ice block, if I show you the ice block is very, very simple because it moves just like Blob. So on the block slider, it's just one custom event that tells it to start moving. And this is for completing a quest. So literally all it is this. And one of those is play a sound. So it inherits all the previous stuff when it hits something. When it hits something, it just transfers its direction and movement to the other thing. And that's all that it's doing now. And there's all the various blocks, objectives. So you've got different stars, buttons, pickups, all that stuff. And let's show you the online code stuff as well. So at the start of the game, let's show you the initialization of in-app purchases. So at the start of the game, you have to initialize all the in-app purchases. This you still have to do in Unreal. So if you're using in-app purchases, you have to do exactly the same sort of thing at Unreal. So at the start of the game, you have to initiate them. In Game Maker, this is how you do that. You basically store their ID number, or ID SKUs, which are these bits here, which relate to my storefront dashboard. So it links them up together, and yeah, off they go. Different asynchronous events. Asynchronous events are things related to online stuff, and that comes from the in-app purchasing store, advert store, system, login system, achievement system. All that stuff reports back asynchronous events. Also, when interacting with my server, my database, so where all the players are stored as database entries. So, for example, hang on. Let's take a look at this. So in Blob, you see in the top left hand corner, it says 0.100, that's the version number, and then 0.691, that's the user ID. So on my database, this particular user profile is user profile 691. And that's how we record that. Pretty simple. And that's kind of it for that. And so there's loads of stuff in here, do different various things. There's all the rooms, so all the levels, there's 200 of them, and they all exist like this. So if I have to make changes to them, I have to go into each one individually, and I can tweak them to my heart's content. Yeah, and it's a long process because there's quite a lot of them, but you get there, and as long as you stay organised and so forth. You may see something here say multiplayer maps. Now, originally the game was planned to have PvP multiplayer, and I got it working locally but not remotely, and that's mostly due to how mobile networking works. Mobile networking is difficult. You can't really do peer-to-peer. You have to use dedicated servers, and using like a third-party system like Amazon Web Services are very, very difficult in Game Maker. You pretty much have to code it all yourself in C++, and I didn't really have the energy to do that, so I just cut the feature. And the way PvP was working was that there's 2 blobs and you had 30 seconds, and you had to cover the level as much slime as possible in your own colour. It's all like Splatoon. So if I showed you a multiplayer map, it was like this. So, and when you got hit by a trap or fall off the map, all your slime of your colour disappears. And at the end, it works out how much slime you laid down. Now, the way you work out how much slime it laid down was at the start of the game, at the start of the match, sorry, it places every single grid square a invisible pickup. And that invisible pickup changes colour based on the slime that goes over it, the blob that goes over it. And at the end, it counts up all those slimes to check what colour they are and works out a percentage. And what it does when it places the slimes, if it places a slime and that slime detects that at the start of the game it's over a block or something that you can't reach, then it will delete itself. So yeah, it was really cool. Like I say, it worked locally. I got it working locally. I could play against myself. I even set up some basic AI to work with it. And the idea is that you could send a code to another person, like a friend, and just challenge each other into PvP or just join random matches. Again, really tricky to sort out. Maybe it'd be something maybe I do post patch if the game does really well enough where I can sort out the networking and figure it out. Then I'll maybe work on doing that. Because it was a really cool feature. It's a shame to cut it. But hey, maybe in a sequel or as a future patch in the future. Joshua Reed's asking, when I use Unreal Engine 4, do I use traditional code or node coding? I pretty much use node coding now all the time. It's just quicker. Yeah, that's the sole reason. It's just quicker for me to get going with it. And I'd only go into traditional C++ coding if there's something I can't do with the blueprints, for example. So, for example, if I was to remake this game in Unreal, I couldn't do the database stuff, the leaderboard stuff, anything like that in blueprints. I'd have to go into C++ and develop my own HTTP posting code, or download a plugin that does it. So what I would have done is I would have made the C++ code to handle the HTTP posting, and made it into a node, which makes it a lot easier for me to work with inside the engine. That's usually how it would work. But yeah. Any other questions about Blobb? Talk about the business strategy a little bit, I guess. Explain the reasoning behind that. So when you're developing a game, you want, especially a free-to-play mobile game, you need to think about hooking people and how to keep people on that hook. So all the levels, you have the what's it called? The new traps. Sorry, each level introduces a new trap. You get a run-up of tutorial levels and then challenge levels. So these first few will teach one thing, and then the next few will challenge the player with that thing. And also, what it does, it goes easy to medium to hard, and then it drops back down to easy, medium, and hard. The reason that is so that when the player beats a hard level, they're rewarded with an easy level, and you feel good about yourself when you beat an easy level and nail it first time, and it sort of encourages you to keep playing. And after beating a level, it'll kick you back to a world screen rather than give you an option to just go straight to the next level, because there's an advert displayed on a world screen. And again, you're trying to make money, so you want to make sure that advert is being seen as many times as possible without being too in the way. And it's not in the way in this game. It's at the bottom of the screen banner ad. It doesn't block any features, doesn't stop any screen time. It's fairly inoffensive, so that's how that works. And I wanted to also include microtransactions to also take advantage of that route. So if people did want to pay money straight out for it, they can do, and that'll get them a load of gems, which will help them with the power-ups and retries and things like that. Yeah, there's lots of cool little things in that. One little thing that happened, a little strategy idea was that when you want to replenish a heart with gems, it costs you 2 gems from the world screen. But when you if you fail a level inside the level, it'll offer you, do you want to restart this level with full health with just 1 gem? So it's cheaper for you to restart a level inside the level rather than going back to a world screen and then paying 2 gems to go back into it. So you do also have that option as well. So there's a load of little things like that that handle try and hook the player into spending gems and playing the game. So Spectra Blaze is saying the drag and drop feature on GameMaker looks pretty ugly. It is, I agree. I hate the drag and drop feature. I haven't used it in 10 years, maybe more. Long time. I just code it all. Spectra Blaze, do I do the pixel art myself? The background art, no. That's done by Daniel. I forgot his name, second name. Got it credited in the game. Daniel did the background artwork. He sells it on his portfolio stuff, so I paid for that. I used that artwork there. Everything else is pretty much me, except for these 4 world things. These 4 world things were done by Marina. I can't pronounce the second name, but there you go. And Daniel Thomas was the guy who done the background artwork. But everything else I did, so blob animations, traps, UI stuff, the font even, all that stuff, Windows, that's all me. Andre Mercado, how many games have I released so far? This will be the third one. Third one. If you don't count Itch, third one, yeah. Otherwise, if you count Itch, that'd be the fourth, fifth one. I don't know. This is the third one I count anyway. But this is the first one I felt really good about. Every time you make a game, you learn a lot of things while making it. Like I learned a lot making this one still, and once you've learned those things, you take them forward into the next project and get better each time. So yeah, so I'm pushing myself all the time with new stuff. Blacklight 808. Do you promote your app anywhere except from YouTube? So I promote it all over the place on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It will, when the game is out and especially when pre-registration is up and available. You'll see, or I'll be paying for adverts to be promoted across Facebook and Instagram primarily. Reason why those 2 avenues is because the large majority of my audience would be the casual mobile players, and they are typically Facebook people. So yeah, it'd be over there as well as on YouTube, like things like this, for example. Yeah. I did actually have Facebook integrated into the game at the start of development, so you could log in with Facebook, but it really proved no point. I weren't really doing anything Facebook related, so I just got rid of it. It just added an extra validation thing, an extra thing to check off, another thing to get signed off, another thing you have to do in a self-publishing sort of way to sort out and fix and bug fix and test. So it weren't worth it. It added nothing to the game, so I got rid of it. No point adding something if it doesn't add anything to it, in my opinion. Good evening, James Jocelyn. I'm trying to think what else was. Let's talk about the plans going forward. So the plan is, again, this is all dependent on how well the game does. Overall, it has. I really hope it makes back the money it's cost. Overall, if I don't count my time, the actual monetary cost of the game's development is about £400, British pounds, maybe a bit more. But not all of that is relied on to this game. So, for example, Game Maker Studio, the mobile export of that is £200. But that's something I could use for multiple games in the future as well. So it's a soft barrier there where how much of it counts towards Blob. But in an ideal world, it'll make back £400 and cover the cost of all this stuff I've purchased and the artwork I've paid for as well. So that's the hope. And if it does do that, and the game does well enough, and people are still playing it, and people really like it, the plan is to get into go on to do seasonal things as well. So I think the next one will be Halloween, and Halloween introduced a special world screen with special levels and unique traps, and that will include things like zombies, pumpkins, gravestones, things of that nature, bats, and something for Christmas, Easter, blah blah blah. But again, that all depends on how well the game does, and people really like it. People are still playing it, and it's something that I want to push for as well. It all comes down to money. If the time spent equals the money, then I'll do it. If it tanks completely, then obviously I'll cut my losses and work on something else. But I'm quite confident about this. I think it'll do some. I think it'll do well. Whether it makes the money back, I don't know, but we'll see, won't we? Um, Andre Mercado, do I experience a good return on investment from the games published? My games I previously published, no, I haven't made nearly enough back on the previous ones I made back. But I say they were weak efforts. This is the strongest one I've done so far. So we're pushing to see this hopefully do well. I think it'll do well. It looks legit. It looks like a good game. I've enjoyed playing it. I've been playing it, and I've played it to death. So I find myself when I'm sitting around like testing it, I'll sit there for half an hour or so playing it, and it does all right. It hooks me up a little bit. But yeah, it's been busy. A lot of behind the scenes stuff as well, sorting out the dashboards for the iOS export and the Google export, sorting out the achievements behind the scenes, sorting out all the achievement artwork, sorting out the tax forms, sorting out all that stuff, the storefronts. Oh, it takes ages. There's a lot of the publishing element behind the scenes that is the real chore. Going through review processes, the testing processes, working with our testers and beta testers and things like that. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. It's taken a long time to get this game out. But I'm looking forward to hitting the storefronts and being available to everyone. I've enjoyed making it. I enjoyed playing it, and so far a lot of people who've been testing it have enjoyed playing it as well. So hopefully you guys will do too when it comes out. I believe pre-registration is up for Google. You have to check on the Google Play Store. If you just search for Blobb in the Google Play Store, it may be there yet. I don't know. iOS will be within the week, hopefully. I'll obviously announce it on YouTube when it is up. But that'll do, I think, for tonight. There'll be more videos coming out for it, more trailers, more gameplay reveals, things like that, as I build up a sort of library of marketing materials. So they will be out, and this video archive will be available straight away after I close it in a moment. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for having a sneak peek behind Blobb and how it works. Maybe one day for fun we'll have a crack at trying to remake it in Unreal for a live stream, and just seeing how I'd go about remaking this game in Unreal if I had to, which could be quite a fun little video to try and do. But thank you for joining me, and wish you all the best. Don't forget to stay home, stay safe, and I'll see you all next time. So ciao everyone, and have a good one. Bye bye.